Hello world, I have an idea that I would like to open up to your scrutiny. And I've had this idea in one form or another for a long time, but I've been thinking about it a lot recently in the wake of Occupy Wall Street and the Arab Spring and the whole let's fix the way everything works sentiment the world seems to have in 2011. Why in the 21st century do we need representatives to run the legislative branch of government for us? Why can't the people run the legislative branch of government for themselves? I completely understand why representation has been necessary in the past. Any form of direct democracy would have been really impractical. It's like, what were we gonna do? Have every single American ride in on horseback to cast their vote in person or to mail in a ballot every time there was some pressing issue to discuss? But today, in the information age, in the age of the internet and social media, where we are more connected as a society, more capable of having national, large-scale conversations than ever before, I don't see why direct democracy couldn't work, and work really well. I mean, I don't claim to know how best to actually go about instilling a direct democracy system in America, or even what the optimal direct democracy system would look like. But to give you a basic idea of where my head is at, I do have a very rough idea of what a directly democratic system might look like. So step one of the legislative process is writing legislation. Right now, that responsibility belongs to members of Congress, but under a direct democracy system, that responsibility would belong to the American people. So in a directly democratic America, either a highly motivated individual or a highly motivated group of individuals of any size could put their heads together and write a rough draft of a piece of legislation. And at this point in the process, it wouldn't even need to be all that complicated. It wouldn't yet need to be written in legalese. It could really even just be a couple sentences saying, this is what we think needs to be changed about America. That group could then submit their idea to some official, secure, hierarchical internet voting system similar to, I don't know, Reddit or Dig, if you're familiar with those sites. And then anyone in America could give any idea submitted either an upvote or a downvote, and after a while, we would have a ranking of our national priorities at any given point in time. Then, once something clearly reaches the top, we could use a wiki-style system to propose amendments to make sure that it's written in legalese, to make sure it doesn't contradict any other laws that are already on the books. And then, once we have it in a form that we all kind of agree on, we can just have an up or down vote. Yes or no, do we want this bill to pass or not? And if we pass it, then it can be passed onto the president's desk to be either signed or vetoed, and then if it's signed, it's law, and if it's vetoed, well then, I mean, back to the drawing board, I guess. I don't know. Again, that is just my very rough idea as to how direct democracy might work. If we were to actually want direct democracy, we would need thousands of proposals, more detailed than that, and we would need to go through and pick out the best bits and pieces from each. The point of this video is not for me to go into detail as to how we would do it. It's just to say that for the first time in history, it's possible. But is it even a good idea? That's the question I'm most curious to know your answer to. So please leave a comment or a video response, and feel free to be brutally honest. If we collectively decide that it's not a good idea, then cool, whatever, we'll drop it. But if we think it is a good idea, then I think it's important that we act now, because the political moment is right. Congressional approval is at an all-time low. Their approval rating is hovering somewhere between 10 and 15% the last time I checked. People are feeling more disconnected from government than ever and are showing anger about it on both sides of the aisle. You have the Tea Party movement on the right and the Occupy movement on the left. There is more energy in America today for doing something big, for fundamentally changing the way government works than I've ever seen before in my short life. So let's talk about it. Let's have a discussion. And let's not be afraid to think incredibly big. Also, the white team has spoken, and their first move is pawn to e4. Right there. Black team, your move.
If you like what you just saw, if Dan put you in a state of awe, subscribe to him and click the orange button. It really means something. If you do that, that'd be really cool.